Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Water 2 channel. Now, we've all been on YouTube Shorts, whether we like it or not. There's some good stuff, and then there's some copy paste, brain rot stuff in terms of content. One thing we've all seen, though, is clips of movies or TV shows. So, what I did with my with my extending free time is I've watched a few of them in their entirety. So today I'm gonna go over and see which ones are good, which ones are bad, and which ones were just a funny clip in a one-time show. So without further ado, let's start off with The Simpsons. Everyone has seen The Simpsons in one place or another. The iconic goofy dad Homer with the housewife Marge, the chaotic Bart, smart Lisa, and of course the baby Maggie. This show has been going on for years. Like years, always making edgy content and somehow sitting on the fence between how offensive you can really put something on the air. Seeing clips of The Simpsons, sometimes being boring episodes or exciting episodes, The Simpsons is a great show, having over 35 seasons and still going. It is definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite TV show of all time, and a complete 10 out of 10 in my eyes. Although, if you are going to watch this, I have to let you know in the later seasons, me as well as a bunch of the other fans have started to notice how they've kind of toned it down a bit, toned it back in terms of how edgy or offensive they are. And for me, that's kind of, that's kind of what the show's all about. But I still like to think it is good. So I'll give it a 10 out of 10. If it was like anyone else, I'd say they'd give it to an 8 to a 9, just considering the later seasons. But I still really do like them. I still really do enjoy them. But one show that hasn't fallen off with its extreme amount of seasons and, of course, more recent times is Family Guy. So Family Guy follows the same script as The Simpsons. The goofy dad, chaotic kids, always finding himself in the most random situations. Um, the show's often seen as the competitor to The Simpsons. Well, not really competitor, but you think of one, you think of the other. They're kind of one and the same, but also very, very unique. While The Simpsons has lost its charm over the years, like I just said, Family Guy has seemingly kept its quality up and somehow improved on it. Well, it depends on the viewer. Family Guy personally hasn't been as good as The Simpsons for me, but it definitely has its big and earned audience. But the jokes just seem to be predictable. They don't seem to be funny. They lead somewhere and it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, that was cool. So for me, it's a solid. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. But of course, you may enjoy it more than I did. But with the later seasons, it seems to be doing better than The Simpsons. I'll say that. But while the jokes in Family Guy weren't as offensive, there is one Doctor Who is, and that is House. So House MD, one of the earlier medical shows, follows a very, very, very smart doctor who doesn't really follow the rules. He kind of does his own thing. He and his small team, they diagnose and try to cure medical problems that no other doctor can. It's kind of like their own special department. With House being very direct and not liking to be around his patients, let alone coworkers, it makes for interesting social interactions and medical issues in this show. He will just say what's on his mind, no problemo. He does not care if he gets fired or not. It's just he knows he's the best, so he does whatever he wants. He doesn't care as long as he's right, honestly. I found this one of the better medical shows, but with the few final seasons, it didn't really compare to the first few, so it definitely got worse over time, kind of like The Simpsons. But it's a solid 8.5 out of 10 in my eyes. I would give it a 9 if the later seasons were able to keep up with the earlier ones, but it's one I definitely enjoyed. It was very, very, very impressive. I had a great time. It was really good. But yeah, while House had no shame in front of his patients, a show quite literally had none, being Shameless. A little play on words. Ha 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 ha. Shameless follows the huge family of a bunch of siblings, the drunk dad, who aren't as well off as others and are struggling to survive, keep the house, keep the food, while also struggling with their own personal problems, right? With there being multiple family members in the show. It's very good at following every person's unique story, but also combining them into one big thing while trying to get them together with the struggle of their lives and living as the less fortunate, but also able to grow the characters individually and as a whole throughout this series. Each episode is always interesting and worthwhile, making this a solid 9 out of 10. It started off good, ended good in my eyes. But while illegal activity played a role in this show, it is all illegal activity in Peaky Blinders. So following the Shelby family and their life of crime, the gang leader Thomas Shelby, leader of the Shelby family, played none other by the GOAT Cillian Murphy, and their post-World War business with a lot of violence and outsmarting. It's one of the best shows with amazing actors and story for sure. I'm going to give this an absolute 9 out of 10 purely because the last season absolutely sucked in my eyes. It was awful. Like, it was up, all the way to season 5, and boom. But it is so good. It's just that post-World War I vibe. So honestly, the World War. And it just shows how, like, they come back and just how they dominate. And it's really good. Like, they're always one step ahead, but always one step behind. But while Thomas Shelby couldn't be stopped by the cops, the show where the cops seem unstoppable is The Rookie. The Rookie is an LAPD police show with an amazing story following an older rookie, John Nolan, who tries to join the police force but is having trouble due to his older age. Of course, he joins with a few others, and it's a show with amazing characters and amazing stories. Every episode of the show is fun and engaging, and like, there hasn't been a single episode in my eyes. And the best character is, of course, Tim Bradford, played by Eric Winter, absolute favorite. Although, like Peaky Blinders, later seasons weren't as good ever since they added Selena. I'm gonna have to give it an absolute 8 out of 10. Absolute masterpiece. Very, very good. It's just that later season, it's so bad. They mess it up so bad. It's lost its touch in my eyes. Like, what made it good at the start, it's kind of just lost that. While the writers kind of slept in the final seasons, the one where the writers slept the entire show was The Flash. The Flash blew up with its amazing debut, with having the Flash played by Grant Gustin. He's honestly the best Flash in my eyes. His acting was so good. Like, it was where he made the best out of a bad situation. The show, like, it had everything it needed, but the writers just sold. They kept adding stuff, taking away stuff. It was kind of just all over the place. Honestly, the first, like, 2-3 seasons were the best in my eyes. Like most shows, they fall off over time, but this one just got absolutely screwed over. It wasn't like Grant Gustin played absolutely perfect. There wasn't honestly anything he did wrong. Again, it's just the writers. They had to nerf him for the plot, so he was always like slower than anyone else, which was kind of like, it made sense at the start, but then once it was like at the point where, oh yeah, he's fast, they're like, okay, let's just add everyone faster. But yeah, the writing completely sold. I'm gonna have to give this a 6.5 out of 10. Honestly, Grant's acting performance, so solid 9 throughout the whole show. Like, he really tried to do the best with what he had, and hopefully he gets to come back in the future, or we see him in some other big roles. Alright guys, that's gonna end it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed trying something a bit new here. So as always, remember to make sure to like or dislike. If you dislike, let us know why in the comments. Let us know down below how we can provide the best viewing experience for you guys. Make sure to subscribe too, be notified. We got some more big upcoming stuff. We got a really fun video that we're recording this weekend. It should be out very soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Take it easy, guys.